And before we get too far along, let me announce the judges for open were Bill Welch, Beth Larson, Tim Peterson. The judges for nature were Ron Baker, Tim Peterson, and Josh Mays. Our themed category was digital manipulation. Diana Nelson, Ron Baker, and Beth Larson were the judges.
Okay, here we go. Okay, let me get the ribbon winners. And the honorable mention. Okay, move on to the nature competition. In nature, there were 32 entries, and they needed a score of 22 to get a ribbon. Okay, now the ribbon winners in the nature contest.
Hey, Kevin,
Yes,
is there any way we can see the scores of the winning images?
yeah, we can do that if you'd like. I can stop this. It'll cut the picture size in half though. So that's, I think, why we didn't do it before. If everyone wants to try it, I can stop it and rerun it with the scores.
Yeah, I'd like to hear the scores too.
Okay, well, let's start it over with the scores now. And the last category, the themed or creative.
And the theme was digital manipulation.
Yes, and there were only 23 entries, but it took a score of 22 to get a ribbon. Okay, now we have the ribbon winners for digital manipulation. Okay, let me get the award of merits for last month. Okay, there were 9 of them. The combined in the title just means I combined the 3 contests. And then for this month, there were 3 awards of merit. Okay, Dan, I guess that's, I'll
Thank
turn it
you.
back to you.
Thank you, Kevin.
Okay, well,
Congratulations to all the winners. Once again, some just really amazing images that this club puts out. I wish we had the opportunity to applaud for all of the winning entries. Unfortunately, Zoom doesn't allow us to do that very easily. And we're really hoping, next year that we can get back to regular meetings. So I do have a few announcements before we move on with the rest of the meeting. I want to thank Kevin Morano for all of his work this year in managing Photo Contest Pro and presenting our competition results. I think it's time to thank everyone who helped us, and there are so many of Tripod members who showed up for our print competitions, because that really takes a crew to put on. I mean, we almost create a kind of a studio and put on a video production. So I want to thank everybody who helped us do that this year. And Bob Hawkins deserves a lot of credit in terms of his technical expertise. Bob did a lot of creative problem solving when we first started to try to do these Zoom meetings, and we decided we wanted to continue to do print competitions. There were a few problems to solve there, and Bob Hawkins was the guy who came up with a solution just about every time. And I wish our membership could see the plexiglass dividers that Bob made for us. Those are a work of art, Bob. You did a great job on those. So thanks to everyone for making a very difficult year happen. I'm really kind of proud that we were able to make Tripod continue to go. And other big news, and if you've read the last newsletter, Tripod Camera Club is moving to a new location. The Masonic Temple, where we've had our meetings for roughly the last 2 decades, is up for sale. And far as I know, it hasn't sold yet, but we have decided not to wait around until we're given a short-term deadline in the middle of a year. And we have moved to Apex Community Church. It is a quarter mile north of our current location on Far Hills. It is across the street. It has a lot of pluses that we like. It's a more attractive meeting space. It is carpeted. The folding chairs are cushioned. There are no stairs to negotiate from the parking lot to our meeting space. So we really think you're going to like Apex Church. We think we have finalized, or at least close to finalizing, our agreement. And then Paul Bruce and Bob Hawkins, because I took a big exit to Florida for this month and left a lot in their laps. So I really appreciate all that they've done to meet with the folks at Apex and make this happen for us. Also in the works, we would like to try to have an in-person awards meeting this year. And we're looking at June 1st. We think that date is going to happen. We have not gotten final approval of that date from Apex, but we think it's going to be okay to have it. So what we'd like to do on June 1st, that's a Tuesday, is have kind of an informal meeting. It won't be like our regular banquet. We will serve light refreshments, but it'll be an opportunity for our members to see our new meeting space. And then we'd like to use that opportunity to, of course, present awards and achievements for our club members for this year. So look for more information on that. There'll be emails. I'll probably even get out a survey to see how many of us are interested. But from talking to Bob and Paul, I think we'd like to do that even if just a small crowd wants to show up. But I'd really like to encourage people, if you've been vaccinated, come and check out our new meeting space. We're kind of excited about it for next year. Also want to thank Marty Welch for her legal expertise in looking over our contract with Apex. We have a few new positions for next year. Most notably, Bob Hawkins will be your president for next year, and Beth Larson will be your vice president. And with that's a power team. And with those two running the show, we're going to be in great hands. So does anyone else have any announcements or comments or questions before we move on?
I would add that if you're going to submit an extra projection image for end of year, the deadline is this Saturday. It has to be something that you entered this year but did not win.
Now, in the case of a print, you're going to have to get that to us, I assume, by Paul. What would be the recommendation for getting that to us?
Friday.
And how? But
what do you think, Bob? You have to unmute yourself, Bob.
Could that be dropped off at the meeting hall before you start competition?
My cell phone number is 937-510-1250. And if you call me or text me, we can arrange either to meet down there or drop them by my house. Either one would be fine.
Okay, so that was for the extra print submissions. If you have extra projected submissions, you would do that through Photo Contest Pro. You will see dates set up there for that.
Yeah, I'll change those to May 2nd, Sunday night. So by midnight on Sunday night will be the deadline. It's set for Saturday now, but I'll move it back a day.
Thanks, Kevin. That's a good idea since people are used to Sundays.
Well, yeah, someone brought that up earlier and I thought that was a real good idea. So, okay, I'll get that changed.
Does anyone else have any comments or announcements?
Thanks, Dan, for doing all this from your vacation and what you've done the whole last 2 years. It's been great.
Well, thank you. And Paul, are you going to be do our commentary tonight?
I am.
Okay, take it away.
All right, doesn't look like I'm
Oh, okay, sorry about that.
co-host yet.
You are now.
All right. What do I want? I want something. I don't see it. There it is. Okay. Photo Contest Pro. Let's I think you can see that, right? I hope.
Yes. we
Yes,
see it.
can see that.
Okay. I think like the last time I did this, I kept finding so many that I liked so much that are hard to critique. I'm going to, you'll see lots of those, but this is one that caught my eye because this was in creative, as you might guess, but actually I wondered if maybe that was part of the reason it didn't win a ribbon. It's almost hard to tell it's not real because I guess if you're real low to one of these crabs, they might look like that on the stone. But there are also some telltale issues with it. And you can't see my mouse, but if you look around like the two pincher claws in the middle, you can see the blue outline from whatever this crab was pulled from. And on the left, back two legs, you can't see the bottoms of them, even though you probably should be able to. So just watch little details like that when you're doing composites, and to sort of hide the fact that, you know, it's a composite. You want it to first have the impact that you're looking for, but little things like that might detract from the judge's score. This one I thought was terrific. Is the maker watching and they can explain how they did this?
Yeah, that was mine, Paul. This is Kevin. I saw an article on this online and it took a lot of work, but I had a picture of the clock face and then I cut it into quadrants. And then each time I duplicated a quadrant, I used transform and shrunk it by about 10%. So there's probably about 25 or 28 layers in there.
That's great. I
And
love
it was interesting. They had done something with a real elaborate clock with a lot more detail in a background, but it was just by shrinking them the same percent, the edges lined up nicely. And then I just kept, say, going by 5 or 6% as I got closer to the center.
That's very cool. I love that.
I thought that was cool, Kevin.
Thanks.
Yeah, I don't need a background. Any background, different background, let it distract me from it. So I thought that was terrific.
Thanks.
Here's a similar looking one. It's a concentric spiral, but my guess is one thing that made it a little awkward to judge is the black sections. You can see at the bottom and one almost in the middle. So that's probably the edge of the frame that it took as it was trying to create this spiral and left in or just inserted these black spots. So those really stand out. And had they been filled with green leaves, it might have done a little better. Good concept though. I like this one. Another great concept. But one thing that would make it look more real, I believe, is when you add a layer like this of color or pattern over something else, it's good to make it follow the pattern or the texture of the fabric or whatever it is below it. So that'd be the wings in this case. And one way to do that with this might have been to play with the blending modes on the layer that it has the plaid, maybe an overlay or light, they just call it light. But that might have made it follow the contours and see the shape of the wings a little more. It's very flat as it is. And so that probably took away from it a little bit, but that's a really good idea. This one I thought was really, really cool. And if the maker can tell us how this was done, I'd love to hear it.
Oh, that's mine. I was inspired by MC Escher's Mobius, where he has ants walking on a Mobius strip. I actually tried a couple different variations on this, and it's one ant. So I don't want you to think I tortured a dozen ants. It is one ant walking around, and I just photographed it in different positions. Um, I suspended that strip from a thin wire that the ant was not able to climb. So no animals were harmed.
Cool, that's brilliant. Very nice. I love the creativity with this. That's what we like to see. All right, so that's what I picked from digital manipulation. I have some in nature here. Beautiful bird in sharp focus. But so are the branches in front of it. And so that's a little distracting. You've probably all seen, and maybe even tonight, some other bird images where there's no visible distractions. It's all blurred around them. And that really sets them off a little better. So this is almost there, but it's the subject matter, is a question to the judge, because I see the bird really sharp and I see the branches really sharp. So isolate the subject and you'll really score better. Just froze up. Everything's frozen. Oh, there we go. Let's try that again. There we go. This is one of those that I loved it. What I like about it is the fact that it's not static. It shows there's action rather than, having a bird resting on the surface there. It looks like mud, or even the feet just touching. But you can tell it's almost about to happen, and your mind sort of goes there, at least when I see that in flight like that. I thought it was great. Very sharp on the bird, and my eyes don't go anywhere but the bird. So try it again in a future year. And this one's kind of the opposite of the last one, but more like the first nature one we saw, where the foreground branches are distracting. That is such a beautiful heron, and well lit and sharp, but I'm distracted by the lower branches. Now this one might, though, have been a little easier to take those out of the viewer's notice by just darkening that area in Lightroom or Adobe Camera Raw or Photoshop. So you might, select those branches and darken them, or just use kind of a gradient so that our eyes aren't distracted by those branches. And especially that one right in the middle and the bottom has a bright sun spot on it where the branch was broken, which grabs your eye. This is beautiful. I'm a sucker for loons. But if I had to guess maybe why it didn't score higher, at least on my screen now, I don't know if you can see it on the size of your screen, the duckling is a tad blurry. The adult is sharp, but that duckling is an equal subject to the parent. And if it's not sharp, it will maybe suffer when it comes to judging, but a very nice shot. So in that case, just a little greater depth of field is my guess, because it doesn't look like motion blur in the chick, just a little depth of field issue. Beautiful shot. My guess is this was infrared because of the color of the leaves and the grass. And that also, because I shoot a lot of infrared, and depending on how your camera is modified to do that, it can be soft. And by that, I mean the detail is not super sharp. So what I see in this, and because it's at full screen on my screen right now, is just a little softness in the leaves, the barn, the grass. So I like the composition. I don't mind that barn's in the middle, left to right, almost in the middle, because it's not in the middle, top to bottom. I like that, seeing that sky gives it a little context, and the big sky kind of look, and I like infrared, so that's fine with me. I'm just going to guess that maybe it needs to be a little sharper. And actually, with an infrared camera, I don't know if that's possible, except using the texture slider in Lightroom or Adobe Camera Raw. That can help a lot. And that doesn't increase the contrast nearly as much as Clarity does. So try the texture slider if you have access to it. Another beautiful shot. This is one of the, you know, the typical picture you want when you say, I want something, so I want to see something simple. I like the fact actually that there's a break in the background, a little white on the top half and something different below, rather than just a solid color. I don't mind that at all. It doesn't distract. And nothing, it's clear what the subject is, and it's all sharp. So somehow, you know, some nights it doesn't strike the judges as with as much impact as some of the others, but the next time it might. Same thing here. It's terrific. I can't, I would have scored that really high. I love it. The things that I want to be in focus are, there's good depth of field because they're from top to bottom, literally top to bottom of the image. All those petals are in focus, and so is the bee. So without distracting backgrounds, I believe. So I like that a lot. This one's very interesting. I wish I'd been there to take this, but I look at these and I wonder, you know, why they didn't do better. Now, I don't know if this is a composite or not. If it is, it's very good. Those doors look definitely embedded in that stone wall. But what hit me is, you know, sometimes the peculiar doesn't bring out impact. And so this is peculiar. You don't expect to see doors in the side of a stone mountain next to a big tree like that. And it's very intriguing. I'd love to know what this is all about. But you are competing with the impact of some of the other winners you saw tonight. And so don't feel bad if something like this doesn't win. It's still a good shot, but the impact, peculiar sometimes doesn't override, you know, it doesn't provide enough impact. Now this one provides a lot of detail, and I'm guessing that was maybe some of the issue here. There's so much to look at. My eyes are bouncing, and try to think of this when you look at it. Where are your eyes going? To that couch in front, and then that chandelier, and then the detailed ceiling, and back to the column on the left and the piano. So I don't know what I'm supposed to look at, and it's very busy. It's a beautiful home, but it's very busy. So maybe next time, you know, walk over if you can, or zoom in to the piano and just get very little detail of the piano, or just the piano with the windows behind or something like that, or maybe just that ceiling. This is an awesome shot. Is the maker of this one here?
It's me, Beth Larson.
Is that a composite?
It's a sky replacement.
Yeah, it still works though, because the color of the mountains are pinkish, unless you sort of change that, which was very good. But also the lights in the car from the cars show us that it's definitely twilight, and so the sky matches, and that line of car lights just, you know, leads me in. I love that. I think it's beautiful.
Thank you.
Sedona, or where is it?
It is Sedona.
Yeah, that is cool. Good idea. Any idea how long that exposure was for the car lights?
I don't remember. Quite a while, just because it was kind of dusk and I had to, you know, shoot multiple shots and then merge them together.
Ah, okay, well done. And now I even see, I didn't
Thanks.
see it first, a ribbon of red in the, from the road way in the distance. That's pretty cool. And that's all I've got.